So Lindsay, should we get started?
I think so. I think we're ready to go here.
Okay. So we'll
Thanks
go ahead.
everyone for dropping yourselves into the chat. Super excited to have you. I'm Lindsay Hayes. I am a part of the NYU team that's bringing you these digital skill certificates. We're really excited to have you here. I am traditionally trained as a PhD in learning design and technology. So one thing that I studied is how education is changing and how technology is changing over time and how technology is changing education. And what I know is that upskilling and people who are in careers and people who are in the workplace, they need to be able to upskill and really dive into education without being boxed into 2-year programs or 4-year programs or really traditional degree seeking programs. And what institutions that are on the cutting edge and what NYU and especially the Tandon School of Engineering is doing is providing you opportunities to upskill that aren't going to box you into a 2-year, 4-year program, but to really zone in on something of a particular interest, whether it's data analytics or project management or Salesforce, whatever it is that you're interested in. We want to make sure that you're able to get access to that content and be skill ready for whatever your next step is in career or next step is in whatever your interest is. So we're really excited to have you. Really happy that you've chosen to explore these programs. I myself teach one of the data analytics programs, and the Pathstream Platform is just really unique in that they create custom learning experiences for you. You get feedback from instructors, but just how the curriculum is laid out and how the labs are laid out, you really get hands-on instruction and you get hands-on time to work with the different platforms that we give you access to. So it's not, just reading through and taking the quiz here and there. You're actually doing projects, you're actually working with the software, and you're getting hands-on feedback and you're getting hands-on time trying to learn and upskill and get more information about whatever you're trying to learn. So I've seen a lot of learning management systems. I've worked in a lot of learning management systems. I've worked at middle schools, I've worked at universities, and now I'm at Tandon School of Engineering. But the curriculum and the platform that Pathstream uses is really unique. And I think it's one of the best, well done curriculum management and learning management systems that I've worked in and that I like my students to learn in. So really excited to have you. This is an opportunity for you to upskill. It's an opportunity for you to really zone in and learn something that'll help you with your career. But most of all, it's an opportunity for you to learn. And the platforms in which we're using do a really good job of setting out ways for you to be able to do that, not on the surface level, but where you can really get into the nitty gritty and working hands-on and doing projects and getting feedback on those projects. So we're happy to have you. If you have any questions about NYU specific stuff or about the programs in general, or specifically about data analytics, since I teach that class, I can really dive in and give you more info there. But we're really happy to have you, and hopefully we'll see you in one of our classes soon.
Lindsay, I really appreciate that's such a great overview, and I'm going to dive a little deeper into some of those to provide some more specific details about everything you said, but you gave a really awesome overview of what we're going to talk about today.
Let's do it.
So I will just briefly introduce myself. I feel that you and I have a lot in common, Lindsay. I am super interested in teaching and learning and optimizing experiences, learning experiences for folks. And my own experience is I started out as a science professor, got really interested in science education, got involved in educational technology, and went back to school, did a degree in educational technology, spent some time building massive online courses for MIT. I then went to Microsoft and worked on their STEM skills and employability team, really thinking about what are the skills that folks need to acquire the jobs now, but also jobs of the future. What are these future ready skills that people need, and how do they acquire them? How can we afford people those skills? And so I have spent a lot of time across higher education and in business before coming to Pathstream, where I work now as a technical learning designer. I love to hear that you are involved with our data analytics program, because right now I am most involved with actually looking at those courses and making sure that they are the latest and greatest. We are actually right now implementing some changes in those courses. So really excited to have you here, to be here, to get to talk with you and with all the folks on our webinar today about Pathstream. So I wanted to really briefly, I'm just going to go back, just for an agenda. We've just ticked off introductions. We'll talk about Pathstream. We'll give you certificate overviews. I'll do a quick platform demo, and then we will dip into Q&A. I also just want to mention that we did ask you to introduce yourselves in the chat. As you have questions, if you could make sure to put those in the Q&A, that would be great, so we can keep track. I don't want to lose track of your questions if they kind of get lost in the chat. So just a note to move forward. So what is Pathstream? And I'll pull up this slide. I know, Lindsay, you've said so much already, which I really appreciate. Is there anything that you wanted to add about our partnership?
Yeah, I mean, I think Pathstream has just really made it easy for us to get the curriculum to students and to really just be able to just create a platform that is easy for students to understand the material. I think that universities as a whole do a good job of trying to make every college kind of fit into the same box. And we've been able to partner with Pathstream so that we don't have to fit into that same box that looks the same across all colleges. And we found within Pathstream that the platforms and the learning management system just really meets learners where they are. So I think that was something that was really advantageous to us, that we wanted to make sure that we're able to meet people who are in career, people who may have already graduated from college and want to upskill, or never went to college at all, might have just, high school background, or wherever you are in your educational journey. We really think that this is a really good baseline to be able to give people those technical skills. And that's what our mission is. So I think it's a really good partnership because we share that mission and trying to meet students where they are and trying to get them to be ready for this technology driven economy that we're facing right now.
Well, thank you. And being from Pathstream, I have a lot of enthusiasm for what we're doing, but having your perspective as a partner and someone who is involved with a major important university and higher education broadly, and having your perspective is really helpful as well, because you understand, sort of the system broadly, but then you understand the uniqueness of what we're trying to do in our partnership and what we're trying to do at Pathstream. So thank you.
Absolutely.
So to dive in, just generally at Pathstream, the opportunity we identified, what we are trying to do is to satisfy this demand for digital skills. We know that this demand is growing. I'm assuming folks on our webinar today, if you're tuned into any news at all, you're hearing about the economy, you're hearing about jobs, you're hearing about the opportunity. And a lot of the news does revolve around a skills gap and the fact that there are so many jobs that are going unfilled because there are skills that folks just don't have. So, we have identified this opportunity that there are many, many jobs that require software skills, these digital skills. This is the fastest growing segment of employment. And also what's great about these kinds of jobs is the opportunity for advancement and for pay. Frankly, these jobs pay more. In terms of what we'll talk about today, we've identified through market research that there are some fundamental skills that lend themselves to certificate pathways. Today we'll talk about the Salesforce Administrator Career Certificate, Asana Project Management Certificate, Tableau Data Analytics Certificate as well. And so we've got the software, the tools, and the skills to back it up. And we've really identified Salesforce, Asana, Tableau as sort of marquee brands that folks that get these skills are in demand. In terms of Pathstream and the platform, it is a tool-based platform. So when you enroll in the project management certificate, you're going to learn how to use Asana. That's the tool that you will learn. You'll learn those fundamental skills and then practice them in the software. It's a hands-on lab environment. And those labs, so I'll do a demo where you'll get to see a lesson and you'll get to see a lab. In that lesson, you're going to work your way through the lesson and you're going to apply those skills in a lab. And then the lab then ladder the project that results from that. So you do the labs and those skills ladder up to a project that you'll complete. And the project is something that you will receive personalized feedback from an instructor, which is great. So you're not just sort of online tinkering in a platform and not having, if you come up against a difficulty, you have support, which I think is great. But then also those projects that you complete, you get to keep in a portfolio. So when you go looking for a job, you have evidence that you have really done the work to acquire these skills, which I think is great. And we know, Lindsay, that project-based learning is like the gold standard, right?
I love when I hear those words together, project-based learning. Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah. So that's a major strength of our certificates of our platform. In terms of the certificates, we offer, each certificate is 3 courses. It's going to prepare you for one of those career areas I mentioned. And then you're going to earn a certificate branded from the NYU Tandon School of Engineering, which is, again, really important for that employment piece. You're going to take this certificate, you can put it on your LinkedIn profile, and you can use it as a proof point with employers that you have these skills. In addition, Pathstream offers career services, and I'll talk more about what that means, but just enrolling in a certificate, you get to work with our career services team throughout the courses. So as soon as you start, every week, you're going to start getting targeted job opportunities in your inbox. In addition, as I mentioned, we are constantly looking to make sure that the curriculum is training you in the skills and is up to date, is career aligned. So during the 3rd course is really when career services is going to work closely with you in that transition from finishing the certificate to getting the job. So that involves a resume and LinkedIn profile review, career coaching, networking support, referrals to employees, interview prep. Our career services team is really top notch, and they work very closely with you to take that certificate and translate it into, a job opportunity. So this is the broad overview. I'm going to take a deep dive into each of these certificates. We'll talk today about the Salesforce Administrator Career Certificate, and we have partnered with subject matter experts and leveraged this Trailhead platform. So if you do a quick search around Salesforce and learning to be a Salesforce Administrator, Trailhead is a platform that aggregates a lot of information. But what we do is on our platform, we take and we curate this into courses for you. So you learn what you need rather than sort of navigating, broadly in the Trailhead platform and not quite sure what you need to get to that next level to be a Salesforce admin. And so we curate it. So you're going to have an experience where, you're going to learn about configuring automations, the Salesforce Sales Cloud. Basically, you're going to learn the fundamentals, exactly what you need for an efficient experience to get to be an administrator. In terms of the Asana Project Management Certificate, you are going to learn in Asana, you are going to learn the fundamental tools of project management, things like developing project plans, risk mitigation, using spreadsheets. And you're going to do this all in the framework of, project management through Asana, which again is that main brand, the tool that you need that will be recognizable to employers to validate your skills as a project manager. Finally, we're going to talk about the Tableau Data Analytics Certificate. And in those 3 courses, you're going to leverage spreadsheets, SQL, you see the MySQL, that's SQL, so databases, and then of course Tableau for data visualizations. And you're going to do that all in the framework of learning the fundamental skills of a data analyst. In terms of details, so each certificate is 3 courses. They vary from 18 to 27 weeks. The flexibility of what we do at Pathstream is, we give you a schedule. So we're going to help you structure your learning, help you keep up so that, you're on track to finish in the right amount of time, but it's flexibly paced. So there's nothing that you have to show up for regularly every week. You get to schedule your time as you like during the week. So as it suits your schedule, you can dip into the experience and you can progress your learning. You do have instructor support, so you're not alone. You have this flexible pace, so you can do the work as you need, as it suits your schedule, but you will have support as you need it. And then again, that certificate, that proof point, you're going to get the certificate from the NYU Tandon School of Engineering to validate to employers that, hey, you've got these skills. Really briefly, testimonials. I love talking about the work we do. I think Pathstream is great. I work for Pathstream, but hearing from students is also really important. And so I won't read all of these things to you, but I do want to highlight, you would be amazed at the opportunities coming my way. The labs were, the instructions were easy to understand. It's nothing like a textbook. It lets you dive deeply into each lesson and test your knowledge. This goes back to what we were talking about before, that the platform is really designed to provide you with an efficient and engaging experience. And again, that project-based learning. And so students are excited to engage with the learning. They do it in an efficient and effective way, and where they're really learning.
Yeah. And one thing I'll just add on to that, and I can't say enough, is that what this platform does a really good job of is you have low stakes and high stakes opportunities for you to check in on your learning, right? So you'll have checks for understanding right after a lesson, right after you go over a unique concept. There's a check for understanding that is not being graded. It's okay if you get it wrong. It's just really a place for you to be able to say, did I understand that concept before I move on? So you'll have small checks for understanding, places where you can, do multiple choice questions or do, fill in the blank and see just where you are. Are you on the right track before you move on? And then you have some things that are like middle stakes. You'll have quizzes. You'll have things like projects and labs where they'll walk you through step by step, where you can kind of test yourself to see, do I need to look at this hint or do I know what I'm doing? And then right after you do it, you can see, did I get that right? And that's not going to be graded. That's just kind of for you to be able to figure out, am I doing the right things and am I on the right track? But then you'll have things that you're submitting, things that are graded, like your quizzes or your projects that you're submitting to your instructor that are going to be used to determine if you're going to get the certificate. So it's really well scaffolded. It's really well structured. And again, it's just opportunities for you to make sure that you're on track for your own learning.
Thank you, Lindsay. I really appreciate that. Yeah, I think, as you said, it's lots of different assessment opportunities, sort of low stakes, high stakes. Also, it's not just a bunch of videos or a bunch of static content. You do have the opportunity to break it up, to check your understanding, to make sure that you feel like you're on track and validate that you are learning as you go. So let's talk about the data analytics certificate. I mentioned that at Pathstream, we really looked for where are the biggest opportunities, and you can see just the number of job postings for analysts is tremendous. If you do a search for, pick your favorite platform, Indeed, LinkedIn, how many jobs are out there if you just put analyst in there? So many, and huge growth in employers looking for Tableau skills as well. Another thing to highlight is that even if you're not going to go be a data analyst specifically, the number of roles that are looking for or would benefit from this type of skill, this skill set is also very broad. Once you're done with our certificate, we're preparing you for roles from being a data analyst to a business analyst. But again, you just want to pursue a promotion in your current role. And once you finish our certificate, you'll be prepared for the Tableau desktop specialist exam with, a little bit of additional study, but it will be great preparation if that's something you want to pursue. That would add, again, to your profile, would add a proof point for future employers. We scaffold 3 courses for you. The first course is really the fundamentals. So it really speaks to, and maybe I'll pause, since Lindsay, I know that you're involved with the data analytics program, if you want to comment about how we structure our courses and what your perspective is.
Absolutely. So, we start off just making sure that we're all on the same page with some of the basics in Google Sheets and just how spreadsheets work and how to manipulate formulas and things within spreadsheets. Some of that might be a review for you. Some of that might be something you haven't seen for a while. Or even if you have seen it and work in spreadsheets every day, I found that there are a lot of like little tricks that I didn't know you could do in Google Sheets that was just really good for brushing up on my skills. And then my learners really appreciated that. From there, we go to SQL, which if you've never seen SQL, it is like learning a new language, but to be able to move forward and advance in your career, you have to learn how to talk to computers. So this is your way to be able to talk to databases and communicate with them and be able to extract the information that you need. So it's a lot of understanding the basics of programming language within SQL and trying to understand if this is the question that an analyst is trying to understand or trying to ask, like, how many of our customers are doing X, Y, and Z? How can I extract that information? How can you talk to a database in order for that database to talk back to you to be able to get that information? And then lastly, the data visualizations, which is my absolute favorite. How do we make it pretty? How do we show people what we're talking about? How do we take that raw data? How do we digest it and then make it digestible for others? And is that a pretty graph? Is that a scatter plot? Is that a line graph? Is that just a table? And is a table the most effective way to communicate that information? But we really look at the best practices for data visualization and understanding what is a market researcher, how are they going to interpret the information? If you're talking to an executive level, what is most important for them and how might they want to see the information? And thinking about who are the stakeholders, who are the people that want this information, and then how is the analyst, what information is best for them? Because you have thousands of data points, but what is it that they actually care about? And then how can you represent that information so that it makes sense and that you can really tell a story and be able to get your point across that really explains what the data is doing.
Thank you, Lindsay. That was super awesome overview of the courses. Also, as you were talking, it made me think your description of using a database, talking to computers, but data as a language in a sense, like to be data savvy, to be conversant. If you're looking at jobs, a lot of jobs are asking for data-driven decision making. Maybe you're not an analyst, but it's good to know the language of data. So I think
absolutely
it really resonates. Yeah. Okay. So the Salesforce Administrator Career Certificate, there are a lot of commonalities here. Again, we've identified a sector that really has a huge career it's a huge career opportunity. The number of employers looking for folks with Salesforce experience, Salesforce knowledge, skills is huge and only growing. Now, I have this acronym here, the CRM, that's Customer Relationship Management Software. So if you're not sure about Salesforce, you haven't looked into it yet, it is software that helps any business manage relationships with customers. So if you think about business broadly, every business has customers and needs to manage those relationships. And it's in a sense, it's a massive database where you're going to collect and manage the data to grow your business, to keep your customers happy and to grow that business. In terms of the opportunity here, once you finish our certificate, you're prepared to go into and be a Salesforce administrator, perhaps a sales representative. Just another sort of factoid about Salesforce broadly, they consider their biggest competitor Microsoft. So if you think about how many businesses, how many folks use Microsoft software around the world, Salesforce is a competitor. And so you can see there's a huge opportunity if you want to go in that direction of learning Salesforce skills. To dive a little deeper into being a Salesforce administrator, I've already mentioned it's a it's a way of managing customer information, a massive software package that you will work to customize to your business. So this is really the importance of a Salesforce admin. You're going to come in and you're going to be the expert. You're going to help your colleagues understand, how to use Salesforce, and you're going to customize it for your particular job, your particular business, right? And that means, you'll use Salesforce to create reports, dashboards, workflows. And I just want to bring that up because those are some of the things that you'll actually learn to do in the courses that we offer. This is just this slide really gives you the sense that in every industry, Salesforce can be used, right? Because every industry has customers, and this is a software. It is the primary software that is used in sales to manage customer relationships. We have 3 courses. Again, we are going to, in that first course, we're going to really give you the fundamentals of, we're going to take you from 0 to 100. If you don't know if you have no knowledge of Salesforce at all, we're going to help build that knowledge. And in that first course, you're going to right away be using Salesforce to build reports, charts, dashboards, and dive right in. So these are sort of the fundamentals that you need to know. In that second course, now you're really going to get into the details of being an admin. So really more of the back end, being rather going from a novice to progressing in your knowledge. You're going to extend your knowledge of the Sales Cloud, and you're going to have the opportunity to build apps. And I'm just trying to highlight the opportunities you have to do sort of real authentic tasks that will map to what you would do in a real job, which I think is very important. You're not just getting theoretical knowledge, you're actually doing things that you would do in a job. In that third course, you're going to dive into advanced topics. And again, we're going to take you from perhaps not having knowledge of Salesforce all the way to being able to be a proficient admin, where you really understand how to customize and use Salesforce in a business setting. The final certificate we'll talk about today is the project management certificate with Asana. And in terms of project management, as I mentioned with data analytics, in project management, there's no downside to this skill set. Even if you're not going to go be a project manager or project coordinator specifically, we can all use project management in our jobs. Huge opportunity around the number of jobs posted for this type of skills and the growth in the job market around these types of jobs. When you finish our certificate, in addition to a little bit of appropriate study, you are prepared for the Certified Associate in Project Management, the CAPM exam. And again, that's another proof point to employers that you've been certified, you have a set of skills and can perform a job as a manager, as a project coordinator. In the 3 courses that we offer in this certificate, you are going to dive in immediately. In the first course, you're going to prepare a project charter, an authentic task to project management. You're going to analyze stakeholders, create a plan, create a scope statement. So these are all authentic artifacts of what you would do in a real project management job. In the second course, you're going to dive into Asana, and Asana being one of the major software packages that is used for project management. You are going to use Google Sheets. You'll get some proficiency with spreadsheets to create a budget. Budgeting is another skill that's really universally helpful for many jobs, not just project management. And then finally, in the third course, you're going to dip into risk management. And this is so important that it is a whole course that you're going to dive into to complement taking, again, we're going to take you from maybe you don't have any experience in project management. By the third course in the certificate, you're going to be ready to, take a role as a project manager. So I'm going to dive in to a demo. Let me share the platform.
The exciting part.
Here we go. Indeed. I'm so glad I picked our analytics here. So, I will sort of scroll through, but of course, Lindsay also would love to have any thoughts as I'm going through this. So I have picked the Business Analytics Fundamentals course, which is the first course in the data analytics series. And as I'm scrolling through, this is what you see as a student. You're going to come in, you're going to see that there are a number of sections. I'm going to pick a particular section just so you can see what the experience is here. Actually, let's see. So each section, as I click on it, it's going to give me some structure. So I see, roughly speaking, how much time I should expect to spend in each of these lessons. Another feature that I wanted to highlight, I might have to go a little further deeper into the course, is each course is, I'm not saying what I want to see, but what you'll see here is you dive deeper, you're going to see that you have an experience where the module is going to tell you how much you have completed, how much you sort of have left. So you're tracking where you are. You're going to click into a module, which will take you into a lesson. And actually, this is also what I wanted to highlight is these beakers indicate that you have a lab. So first, you're going to start in this module, you get an introduction. This is going to give you an overview, and you've got your learning objectives up front. Then you're going to click into the meat here, getting into the first lesson. As I'm scrolling through, what I want to show you is, yes, there are some elements that are, you will have some videos, you have a mix of things, you've got tool tips, but then it's not all just text and videos. Here we have a knowledge check. So there's actually a place to apply your learning. I got that one correct, so that's good. And as you said, Lindsay, it's not just sort of like, oh, multiple choice, you click and you move on. There's actually feedback. So if you get the right answer, we help you understand why. If you get the wrong answer, we provide you feedback in that case too, so you can really be gauging your learning as you go. I wanted to click into this lab. I think this is lab, yes. And actually, I will pause. I keep saying I'd like you to contribute, but then I keep talking. If there's something you wanted to say, Lindsay.
No, all good. So this is an example of a lab. For this example, you see on the left-hand side, there are instructions, and on the right-hand side, you see a spreadsheet. Depending on what platform, what software, what class you're taking, whatever's on the right-hand side is going to reflect whatever you're learning. So in this case, this is a Google Sheets lab, so that's why you see the spreadsheet. But if you were in MySQL or SQL, or if you were in Tableau, you would see the actual Tableau platform over on the right-hand side. You would see whatever software that you're working in at the time for the lab, that would actually populate right there. So it's nothing that you need to go outside of the platform or try to pull up on your own. It's going to take you to the exact window that you need to be looking at, and then it'll tell you over on the left hand side, show me how. If you're not sure, you have that little drop down, or a hint, you have that drop down. Or if you think that you can do it without any of the help, you can just go ahead and kind of work through the project and test your own learning. But the GIFs, the little short videos that are included in all of the projects and all of the labs are super helpful, because if you're, it's not just like look at the top bar and find this, like it'll actually show you a video representation of where the mouse is going, what it's clicking on, what's the next step after that. And it's super helpful for you to be able to check your own learning, or if you're not even sure what to do and how to proceed, it'll be a place for you to see how the demo is done, or how the best practice is done, and then you can do it yourself, and then it'll give you another opportunity to try something on your own, or to manipulate real data. And again, this isn't like something that they're just creating out of the air in terms of data. It's not like 1, 2, 3, red, orange, blue. Like they're using real world data so that you can really get a feel for if a store is selling this type of material, and these are the names of the customers, and this is how much they cost. Calculate this number, calculate the revenue, and here's the definition of revenue, and this is how you calculate it, but then we want you to apply it to another data set. So it's really, really well done in terms of creating a project so that you can follow along, or you can apply whatever was just taught. And it's not like you have a project that's 12 chapters later and you have to go back. These projects are integrated every chapter. Right after we've learned a core concept, you're going to have a lab to be able to practice it, which is just really well done.
Yes. Yes to all of that. Thank you for making those points. This is just an example of the first part of the project. And since we're running a little short on time, I just wanted to scroll through this really quickly, but I do want to leave time for questions. But you'll see here, this is telling you what you need to do. Here are the project details. To your point, Lindsay, it's meant to be an authentic scenario. You get an email from your boss that is asking you to do some specific task with a data set that would be, you know, authentic in a work environment. We don't just make things up that are nonsensical. We try to ground them in reality into a real scenario that would make sense, that would be applicable, you would be able to transfer to a real life situation.